Perhaps it's inaccurate, but on occasion, our emotions can transcend logic. This occurred 4 years ago, when I was already married and now have 2 cherished children. During a job interview, I was unexpectedly hired for a new position. On my new team, there were 2 women and 3 men, including a young man on educational leave who briefly visited a couple of times. My initial impression of him was one of arrogance and self-importance. However, as time progressed, I began to integrate into the team and discovered that my colleagues were amiable and affable, while the man was not as conceited as I had initially thought. While I consider myself to be a proficient evaluator of people, it seems that my initial perception was incorrect. Alternatively, it could be attributed to a spark, a small, barely noticeable one. The person's disposition became amiable to converse with, and it's challenging to determine when the subconscious connection between individuals commences. As communication progresses, emotions start to grow and eventually entangle us in a sentimental quagmire. Continuing on, our relationship progressed with light touches, compliments, and more personal conversations. Despite my man's right attitude towards life, he gave in to his emotions, and I took responsibility for initiating our relationship, even though it was not morally justifiable. Nevertheless, I had no regrets because the mental, emotional, and physical intimacy we shared was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that I was grateful for. Our relationship lasted for 1.5 years and was marked by quarrels, reproaches, and talks about the hopelessness of our situation, but also by tenderness, care, attention, and support. Sadly, our relationship ended when I became pregnant, and he decided to end things. I was scared and wondered how this could have happened when there are so many contraceptive options available. But deep down, I knew the truth. I had wanted to belong to him completely, and that desire had clouded my judgment. When I finally came to my senses, it was too late, and I had to make the difficult decision to terminate the pregnancy, ending the life of our unborn child along with it. I couldn't act on my feelings for various reasons. My marriage and 2 children were significant factors, as was the fear of causing unhappiness to those around me. So I chose to step back and not pursue anything further. However, the pain and hurt lingered, and I eventually confided in my husband. He was understandably hurt, but forgave me, even suggesting that he would accept any child that resulted from my feelings. Nevertheless, I couldn't bring myself to pursue that path and knew that doing so would only cause more harm to those involved. As time passes, I know that this incident will seem insignificant compared to the gravity of what I did. I will undoubtedly regret my decision, especially when my children have grown up. But for now, I must honor my promise to stay out of the other person's life and work to let go of my feelings. Despite everything, I still found myself drawn to this man, and our relationship rekindled. However, life sometimes takes unexpected turns, and it was up to me to make a decision. I had the opportunity to change jobs and move to another city, and I ultimately chose to do so for the sake of rationality, practicality, and my family. As we parted ways, he gave me a beautiful bouquet and a pendant necklace, which I never took off. My husband knew about the gifts, and while he understood the sentimental value they held for me, he never reproached me for them. We both made an effort to stop communicating with my former flame. He blocked all access to me, saying it would be too painful to keep in touch, and I thought he had forgotten about me entirely. However, on my birthday, I received a stunning bouquet of flowers from a courier, without a note, but with the unmistakable signature of my former flame's thoughtful gestures. I surrounded myself with all the gifts he had given me, unable to shake off his presence, even though we were no longer in touch. It was easier to hold on to these keepsakes than to face the reality of his absence and silence. Life moves forward with its everyday routines, including work and taking care of children, while I devote myself to both my offspring and books, as well as my own personal growth. I made a promise to myself that I would maintain my appearance, so that if I were to unexpectedly cross paths with him, he would still see me as the captivating and beautiful woman he once knew as his own. Despite being away in another city for almost 2 years, we have managed to keep our relationship intact. It follows a cyclical pattern, with periods of silence followed by lengthy correspondence. In today's age of social media, it is easier to keep tabs on each other's lives, and I cannot help but feel that he is doing the same. I monitor his stats, photos, and the last time he was active on social media, simply to ensure that he is doing well. During periods of prolonged silence, we communicate through our statuses, posts, and uploaded photos. I sense that he is posting for me, just as I do for him. It is impossible to move on when a part of me still feels connected to him on a soulful level.